welcome everybody. Welcome to this special edition of 956 Live and Brownsville Tech Live in the house. And tonight it is my distinct honor and pleasure to have McAllen Mayor Javier Villalobos in the house. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you, Mayor. As we're starting this 956 live podcast. We hope to expand further into the Western Valley, and we decided to have you as our first guest for the new 956 podcast.
What
So,
an
Mayor,
honor.
yep,
Yes.
yep, definitely. So, Mayor, could you tell us a little bit about yourself for some of the viewers out there that don't know you, who you are, where you're from, what your background is? Give us a little bit of information about you. I've seen you on
Certainly.
TV all the time, by the way.
Well, that's just in the news, though. Well, actually, I'm a lawyer, but people don't think I'm a lawyer anymore. They think I'm just a mayor. But that's my profession. I've been a lawyer for 30 years. And I'm not originally from here, from the Valley, from McAllen, but I've been here 30 years. I got here in 1995, born and raised in Crystal City, Texas, a small little place about 250 miles from here. School in Uvalde, junior college, San Marcos, and then to law school in Houston, Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Graduated in 95 and moved down here. And you know what? I have a beautiful wife, four kids. And yeah, finally they're all adults. So you would think that it's a lot easier, but no, it's not. They're still around. But now what takes up a lot of time is, being the mayor here in McAllen. It's not necessarily a job because it doesn't pay, but it's a task that I took on. And but I love what we're doing. I love what the direction we're heading, and just love serving our people.
So, what made you decide to run for mayor? What made you decide at the time?
At the time, you have to understand, I never really got too involved in McAllen politics. I represented as city attorney, kind of more towards the east, at Cauchelsa, San Juan, Alamo, Progreso, all those areas, Donna. And I kind of always knew about politics, got involved elsewhere. And then in 2017, I believe, I said, you know what, I'm going to run for commissioner. One of our commissioners here had passed away and there was vacancy. And at that time, I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. And I really wasn't well known here in McAllen. And so I did run, and regretfully, or maybe not regretfully, but our county, the person who's our county judge currently, Judge Cortez, was the mayor. He had just stopped being mayor and he was out, and he decided to run for commissioner in the same position I was running, and he won. So my first try, I lost. A year and a half later, I tried it again, and I was able to get in. I got in as city commissioner. 3 years later, the position of mayor opens up, and I thought, based on who we had, and based on the knowledge and skill and expertise of the area, well, I had been doing it for 20 something years. And so I decided to give it a shot. And unfortunately, we were able to pull it off. It was a tough race. There was five people involved. It was a very tough race, but we pulled it off at the end.
Now, of course, you ran as a Republican. Is that correct, sir?
That is 100% incorrect. The elections here for city elections, they are nonpartisan. You
Ah,
don't run as a Republican or a Democrat. Everybody knew that I was a Republican, and so they kind of try to use it against me. But at the very end, there's a lot of people that really understood the message I was sending out. To me, my message was about economics, about food on the table, protecting your property values, keeping taxes low. So people didn't care whether I was a Republican or a Democrat. At the very end, we were able to, I guess my message resonated more than anybody else's, and we got in.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, definitely all of the positions I believe here in Texas, I mean, sorry, in the Valley for the most part, are nonpartisan, right? I believe that the last Republican, or who was known to be a Republican, was Othel Brand back in the 1980s. I don't know if you ever heard of Othel Brand, but he had been mayor of McAllen for a long time. Quite a character.
Oh yeah, I was fortunate enough to know him, and I liked him. I don't know whether he was Republican or not, or what it was. He was a good gentleman, and he did
Yeah,
quite a bit for the city of McAllen back in the days. Maybe in a different way because it was different back then, but he did well
right.
for our city.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, Opal brand was a uh, influence back in the 1980s, no doubt about it. So, what makes McAllen unique among the Valley cities? What do you think, kind of
We
makes McAllen different from everybody
I
else?
think we are fortunate that we really are the economic engine of the valley. We have a bunch of course, here, for example, here in Hidalgo County, we have 21 cities, but we're centralized. We are in the middle. Everything surrounds us. And we know that McAllen is a business base. There's a lot of homes, there's a lot of properties, a lot of people all over Hidalgo County, but they come to McAllen almost every day. Even our employees, we have about 2,600 employees. About 60% do not live in McAllen, but they come spend their money in McAllen. They come to eat, to have fun, and quality of life is just great here. We have tremendous things to offer. So I think we are at a little of an have a little bit of an advantage because we do so well financially that it helps us attract people, and I
Yeah,
think that makes us not just a little bit different, quite different.
right. Well, definitely, we go from the Eastern Valley over to the Western Valley quite a bit over there, to eat, to shop, to play, to watch concerts and stuff like that. You've got some pretty impressive facilities, especially that performance hall there by the Ware Road Convention Center area. So,
Now we are fortunate. Our convention center is great. Performing Arts Center is, I don't know if there's a nicer one, you know, 400 miles from here. I don't know. We have a tremendous performing arts center.
yeah, my daughter actually, she attends UTRGV, and we had a performance down there, and it was pretty impressive. It was pretty impressive. I gotta give you guys kudos for having a really nice facility. What are some of the challenges that you see McAllen facing in the near future? The challenges, but also the opportunities, right? Not just McAllen, but the entire valley in general. What do you think some of those
Well,
challenges or
challenges, I
opportunities
think
are?
it's pretty much what everybody's having right now. For us, a lot of it is traffic. And so, which is the reason we changed our zoning so that we can try to make it uh, squeeze people in together so they can utilize the transit. Because really, we have transit and it is not very well utilized. So traffic just keeps on growing and makes it a little bit more difficult. The other problem everybody has, and I'm talking to everybody, is water. Excuse me, water, and that's why we're looking at building about a $200 million uh, desalination plant here in McAllen. It's something we need. I know that if we do it, and we will, we'll be able to produce sufficient water for us and for the surrounding cities whenever they need it. People don't know that we have interconnects with everybody from Mission, Edinburgh, Park, San Juan. It just keeps on going. So if somebody needs water, we open up the interconnects and we can help out anybody around the area. And then, of course, and what are the things that are beneficial? Well, I think one of the beautiful things, Fort McAllen, but I think it kind of goes throughout the area, is the cost of living. McAllen was number one as far as cost of living. And last year, we were ninth in the whole country, ninth best for small business, the third safest city in the country, safest city in Texas. So we keep on getting accolades. We keep on getting things that I know are beneficial and they attract people. And when they attract people, people are more willing to invest in McAllen, which is something that helps us keep our costs low. There's inventory in housing, there's inventory in commercial buildings. So it helps us keep prices low, but with a lot of competition.
Now, I know that you all have made some strides over the last few years. I think you've attracted some software companies. I was reading today that there's a data center opening up in the Chase Newhouse Tower. Um, what uh, what efforts do you see for us to continue to try to bring in more high tech
Well, we're
opportunities to the
always
valley?
trying, and I think you're probably talking about Zoho, a software company.
Correct.
They started and they're in. They're in McAllen right now, but they're probably relocating to Edinburgh, and we are perfectly fine with that. We keep on telling people we don't compete like we used to because we don't have to. We know that, for example, even SpaceX, people from McAllen go every day over there to SpaceX. Harlingen, we get to Harlingen in 20 minutes. To Brownsville, usually in an hour. So we don't have to compete anymore the way we used to. If there's something good, and of course everybody wants manufacturing, but if there's anything good that's around the area, it benefits all of us. So there's a bunch of good stuff we can get, and we're getting it.
Well, one of the things, that I did for about a year, I actually used to work in McAllen. I used to commute from Brownsville to McAllen. I used to work for South Texas College, by the way. Great college. I enjoyed my time there. I was a Java developer there. I did do the commute during the time when all that construction was going on, though.
Yeah,
And of
I was a
course, that
pain.
was that was a pain, right? But things obviously, settled down there. But with regards to transportation across the valley, um, what do you think we need to look towards the future with regards to our highways, our bridges, more cooperation between our transit companies, be it from McAllen all the way to Brownsville. Um,
Well, the issue for us right now is the lack of a loop. I think everybody knows that we're trying to get a loop. We're so far behind. As far as other areas, like, yeah, I even say even the city of Victoria, which is a lot smaller, has a loop. And yet here, McAllen and Edinburgh Bar and Mission all tied together with a population close to a million or exceeding, we don't have a loop. Or anybody coming from the west has to go all the way at I-2 to I-69, or they're coming from the east, I I-2 to I-69. You can't go around. So that creates more traffic, creates more issues. But I know we're working on it. We have a lot of good people working on it. So we're hoping that maybe pretty soon. And when I mean pretty soon, I'm not talking in a year or two. I'm talking at least a decade.
right. Do you foresee continued upgrades to the existing freeway system?
Well, definitely, definitely. As far as the population, when the population grows, the expressways have to grow, the different areas have to grow. And as a matter of fact, I wish they had put one more lane there at the interchange. But hey, that might happen at a future date. And right now, it's still working very well. But I know we're always looking at different infrastructure, working with the RMA, the MPO, everybody to make sure that we get what we need for our people.
Now, what is your take with regards to this movement? And I believe it started at the national level with regards to property taxes. Obviously, a lot of people complain about property taxes and property values being high. Here in Brownsville, the main uh, entity that gets blamed for that obviously is SpaceX. But we all know that property values and property taxes have gone up across the state. But what's your take with this idea of eliminating the property tax or capping your ability to tax at certain rates? I know that the mayor of Brownsville and our city manager were up in Austin a few weeks ago testifying about that. What's your take with
Well, it
regards to this
depends.
movement?
We are fortunate that right now in McAllen, we've been able to lower our tax rate year after year since I've been there. But I also know that the appraisal district raises the value, so it kind of balances out. But then you get into the issue of capping. Now, that sounds pretty good, except if you're a growing city with needs. And I'll give you the example. We spend every single dollar we collect on property taxes on public safety, on the police. And if we're hogtied, if we keep on growing and we can't provide what's necessary, hey, we're not going to be the third safest city in the country or the first in the state of Texas anymore. So it depends how fast you're growing. If you're not growing at all, then I guess it doesn't make a difference. But if you're a booming city like McAllen, like Brownsville's doing now, it's difficult. So I mean, if there's a gap, I mean, we need to make sure it's something that's reasonable or something that can be taken away at a later date if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this idea where it came from about the removal of the property tax across the state, but as I was telling somebody the other day, if we don't have the property taxes, then what makes up for it? Are you
No,
forced sales
and that's
tax?
true. What you're going to have to come up with the money one way or another.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I told him, okay, here's your choices: sales tax, increase the sales tax, or or an income tax, right? You got to make
yeah,
up the money somewhere. We got to
and
keep
both
on
sound
paying the
evil.
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep on paying the police. We've got to pay the firemen. We've got to pay the teachers. So it sounds great, but where does the difference come from, right? So one of the things that I wanted to touch on, and I know that we had previous discussions on the topics we're going to talk about, but you've been in the news lately because there appears to be a level of crime that has popped up, not only in McAllen, but in Brownsville as well. We've got a similar problem where young kids are being allowed into these bar districts, right? You guys have your own section. We've got ours here at Pablo Quesel. And just this weekend here in Brownsville, there was a kid who started shooting into
Mm.
the area. Um, what's your take? I mean, what's going on? I mean, it seems more and more of these kids are getting more defiant. They're going after
Yeah, well,
cops. They have no respect. I
honestly, I
mean,
think a lot of it has to do with kids nowadays. They are a little bit different. I mean, even us growing up, yes, we used to do dumb stuff. I think we all have. But nowadays, I think they're a little more brazen and maybe they don't have as much direction as they should from the parents to start off with. But then when you mix, kids with alcohol, I mean, I think that's a little more dangerous. And we've been seeing the incidents, but we always try to allow the free market or allow business to regulate themselves and fix it up. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think they prefer profits over public safety, and that's something we're not going to do. Like I said, public safety before profits. So, my wish here in the downtown area, on the entertainment district, is I want every single bar to not admit persons under the age of 21. That means no more 20, 19, 18-year-old kids, and they can wait a little bit. Now, I know they're concerned a little bit that it might bite into their profit, but you know what? If we save one person, if we from being killed, DWIs, all that type of stuff, we got to do it. I think it's already. I think it's been. We've given them enough opportunity and they haven't taken care of it. So I think we need to step in. And a lot of people don't know that we ourselves cannot regulate it. We cannot tell them you have to pass an ordinance and tell them you have to raise it to 21. And the other thing is state law does not allow you to have a curfew. So our hands are tied, but there's different ways we can do it, and that's what we're going to do. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and this cat's going to get skinned.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It appears to be a problem. Like I said, we've got a very similar situation here in Brownsville. And like I said, the scariest thing this weekend was somebody just went out there and started shooting. And I've seen videos, on social media, even here, these kids, they just have no fear. They'll go beat up a cop.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. Something we wouldn't do when we were kids. It's like, oh my gosh,
I'd be running.
definitely. Well, first of all, a lot of my uncles here were cops, so I'd probably get, you know, my, what beat up along the way. But one of the things that is a problem across the valley, I know that you guys recently had a situation was with regards to flood control, right? We've got our problems here as well. It seems the entire valley does. La Feria does. A few years ago they flooded pretty badly. I mean, what do you think we need to do with regards to flood control? I mean, one of the things that I've blamed people, because we have this problem here, is illegal dumping. There's a lot of illegal dumping going on, mattresses, trash, things that, clog up the drainage. But beyond that enforcement, what do you think we can do to prevent some of the flooding
Well,
that we've
first of all,
seen?
we have to be proactive, and that's what we've done here in McAllen. A lot of people, it doesn't matter what we do, people are always going to be saying, "Oh, you have a lot of drainage problems." And actually, in McAllen, we don't. And the proof was in the pudding. Just a few months ago, when it rained quite a bit, it was flooding everywhere. And one area in McAllen kind of did too, by the convention center, but that's an
Right.
area that's lower because of tech stock. But other than that area, we had minimal issues. Within a few hours, the water was gone. The next morning, everything was gone. But I mean, that's McAllen. Now, when the water goes into the drainage canals, that's another issue. That's where we start talking more about the people dumping, and maybe the canals need to be widened. Because we had this incident several years ago where the water was starting to back up at Tres Lagos. Then we realized that a canal or a bridge, the water under the bridge was clogged up about 6, 7 miles away. Once that was open, I mean, it went. But that, that's a lot of, I mean, we got to educate people. We got to educate people and make them understand that whatever actions they take, there's always something. And in this situation, it's something bad. They think it doesn't affect them. It affects everybody. It can cause millions of dollars in damages when a canal is clogged up. And so I ask people, be careful. And I also ask the cities and the counties to make sure that your drainage canals are clean, especially we know like right now during hurricane season. So we
Right.
all are just a little proactive. We can do much better.
Well, one of the topics that's been pretty hot over the last few months has been immigration. As you know, there's been a lot of ICE raids going on. Here on this side of the valley, there was a lot of ICE raids happening in the Los Fresnos area. You heard about tire shops getting raided and stuff like that. But there's a lot of restaurants here, mom and pop shops primarily, that have closed down because they blame ICE, right? Or the raids. People don't come to work because they're afraid of going to work. I can't even find a grass cutter to cut my lawn, believe it or not. I mean, what's your take on this whole situation with immigration? Is it affecting you guys as well as it is affecting us?
Well, I think it's really affecting everybody and some more than others. I think we all agree that, in the beginning, when the border was pretty much secure, and it happened pretty quick, I think the majority of people were very glad. But then, okay, let's talk about enforcement and getting rid of murders and killers and rapists. I think everybody's fine with that too. But when it comes to taking some people that may have been here for years and years that are productive, law-abiding citizens, that's where I think a lot of the people are starting to say, hey, we need these people. We need them because our economy will fail. We won't have people to work. And look, why kid ourselves? A lot of the jobs they do will not be done by a lot of US citizens. And I've said it and I'll say it before, the work ethic of a lot of Americans is not what it used to be. So a lot of jobs won't be done. And just like you're stating right now, you can't find somebody to cut your yard. Well, guess what? I can't either. I have some other work I need to do. I can't find somebody to help me. My kid doesn't help me. He's 21 and healthy and strong. So is my other 24-year-old kid. But will they help me? Probably not. So I know we need people to work, and if they're law abiding, if they're productive, and and that's why we've always said, or at least I've always said, we're not talking about amnesty. We're not talking about citizenship. We're talking, or at least what I want, is a pathway to lawful employment. And then figure it out. But at least you know who they are, where they're working, what they're doing, and let's figure it out.
Yeah. Well, that definitely is a very concerning thing for a lot of people, right? Because, it is affecting businesses and so forth. But one of the things that I know that the national government or the federal government, excuse me, has been wanting to do or has thought about is asking local law enforcement to actually participate. Um, do you see that as a possible viability for our local law enforcement to
I don't
actually
necessarily see it as a
participate?
liability, not necessarily as a liability, but something that really they're not trained to do. They're not supposed to. But look, I have no problem with local authorities assisting federal authorities in the execution of warrants or assistance, mutual aid. But for local authorities to be conducting immigration services, that's a little bit different. They don't have the training, the experience, the expertise. I think that's something that's best left to the Border Patrol.
Okay. Yeah, because definitely, I've seen social media posts, and some of them inaccurate, by the way, where here, somebody posts something, county of county sheriff's department is assisting in raids, which is not true. But
Yeah.
there's a concern there when you hear those kind of things because it also places our local law enforcement at risk, right? It only takes somebody to overreact and cause a problem, right? So, um, I think it's probably best for letting the federal authorities take care of the immigration problem instead of tying up
That's right.
our law enforcement, you know. One of the things that I wanted to touch on a little bit was a few months ago, Harlingen's airport director had been interviewed by the Rio Grande Guardian. And one of the things that he advocated was that he felt that the valley eventually will need to consolidate into a regional airport. And obviously, we know that you guys in McAllen consider your airport an economic engine, just like we in Brownsville consider our airport an economic engine. Do you think it's really possible that we would ever consolidate into a regional airport? I mean, it just doesn't appear to make sense.
Well, possible, of course, feasible, definitely not. I mean, just last year we broke the records with employments. We had in excess of a million, about 1,100,000, I believe. It is an economic engine for us. It's very difficult. We have invested so much into the airport. I'm sure Brownsville has too, as Arlington. So it'd be difficult to say, hey, let's consolidate into one. It'd be kind of difficult. In fact, if we were to consolidate, well, then I'd say let's go to the busiest one, and that would be McAllen.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I was telling somebody the other day. I don't think Elon Musk would want to land in Harlingen and have to travel too far. Right now, he's like 20 miles away from where he works. You know, I just don't think it's very feasible, but they are economic engines. Now, one of the things I know here in Brownsville that we have is that our airfares aren't competitive, right? They're kind of higher than Harlingen, for example, primarily Southwest, right? But and I don't know how much higher they are in McAllen, but you know what's your take? How can we keep prices competitive? I mean, there's less airlines today than there was back 20, even 30 years ago. We're very fortunate that United and American serve all three cities. That's unheard of in a lot of places, by the way, you know. But obviously, you know, a lot of people complain about that. I mean, what's your take? I mean, is
Yeah,
there
well,
anything
for
we
our
can do?
purposes, and in order for the airlines to exist and to do okay, but they need to have a certain number of employments, a certain number of people going, or capacity every trip. Now, if we had more, I think they could possibly lower a little bit. But I mean, I really don't get into those issues, but I kind of have an idea as to what we could possibly do. I mean, because we have. I mean, the airlines still have to pay when they land, when they leave, and for everything. And I mean, that's how it works. So, what's the only way? I mean, we don't know their expenses. We don't. All
Right,
we know is how much we pay. So it's kind of
right,
difficult without knowing what they do or how they do it, to really have an idea as to how we could reduce even a little bit the ticket prices. But I think with more people, at least it gives them an opportunity when they cover better cost or more cost.
right. And that's one of the things that I was mentioning to somebody the other day. You know, the Brownsville market's always been a business market, right? It's always been a business market. You guys are kind of lucky on the Western Valley because your airport serves business as well as leisure, right? Harlingen is exclusively leisure, right? It's exclusively leisure, and obviously them having Southwest makes a difference, right? So there's differences in the markets, you know, as well as to what you're serving. So um, one of the things that I know there's a lot of talk in is, you know, what do we need to do with respects to cooperation among the Valley cities? Are you for a regional approach where it makes sense? You know, there's always this talk that there's always competition among the Valley cities. I mean, what do you think the future holds for us as a metropolitan area? Do we need more regional approaches to things, or do we continue trying to compete against each other?
Now, when I became mayor, one of the first things I started to do was talk regionalization and start getting some people together, especially here. And then I was always trying to reach out to Trey over there in Brownsville and the mayor in Harlingen. And then once it's gotten a lot better once Mayor Sepulveda got in, once Calvin got in. I mean, our relationship is great with everybody now. We're getting along and working as a region. And like we say, like I stated earlier, it doesn't matter where business goes, we're all going to benefit. So if there's something specific, for example, a company that wants to come to McAllen, we'll do whatever we can to assist them. But we've also sent companies, for example, I know a specific one to Harlingen, or if they can be somewhere else and they can be assisted, it doesn't matter. So our to me from this or from several years on, it has been more of a regional approach, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, well, one of the things that, you know, we know is that SpaceX has been quite an impact, right, in this area. You know, they're a testament to our workforce and their ability to build anything from widgets all the way to interplanetary rockets that will one day send us back to the moon, and take us to Mars. Um, and so it gives us an opportunity to showcase our people. And when I say our people, I say everybody from McAllen all the way to Brownsville, right? Because every time a rocket launches from Starbase, that's our people that built it, right? It's our people that built that. And what impact do you think SpaceX is having for the entire valley?
That's a tremendous impact. Is one of the proudest moments I've had when I was touring SpaceX. Is I loved it. I loved it when we were touring SpaceX. The gentleman that gave us the tour was an engineer from Edinburgh. So it tells us that the people here that are getting educated here are now staying here, and that was
Right,
something that was so important to us. The old brain drain. Well, hopefully
right.
SpaceX is going to help a lot. Hopefully Zoho here, now located in Edinburgh, is going to help a lot. No, we know we're going a lot more commercial, so that's going to help a lot. We're educating a lot more individuals, and we think they're staying here.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, definitely there's been an impact with regards to SpaceX. What would you like to see? You know, I know there's been investments. I mean, I obviously mentioned that I worked for South Texas College for a while, and like I said, it's a great employer to work for. Great college. I know that A&M has made some investments also in the McAllen area. What would you like to see, with regards to UTRGV, South Texas College, A&M continue to invest in the area? What would you like to see in the future?
Well, actually, I'm already seeing a cooperation between the different schools and even local schools and universities, STC, all over the place doing tremendous. UTRGV now with the football team. I mean, that just opens up a new door to opportunity. And A&M just keeps on growing. So one of the things I want to talk to the new chancellor is I want a vet school down here, or at least a beginning program for a vet school. We have a lot of need. And I know A&M offers it, but I mean, I've never seen UTRGV, A&M, and STC work with other entities like I do now, and it's amazing. It's something that's very beneficial to the whole community.
Yeah, definitely. I think the nearest vet school is what, up in College Station, right?
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there definitely is a need for vets, no doubt about it. I've got I've got four dogs, two cats, and a turtle. I'm a testament to medical care for our pets.
Well, I beat you. Four dogs, a turtle, and six goats.
What I know that you've been traveling quite a bit lately, especially going to, south of the border to look at different kind of investment opportunities. Um, what do you envision the valley look like in 5 years, 15 years, 20? years from now?
Well,
What's your hope?
I think I'm telling you, I think we're going to keep on growing. And the reason I go to Mexico, and I tell people, when I go to Mexico, I want them to think the first thing they think about the United States is McAllen. And you know what? I think it's working. Wherever I go in Mexico City, I was in Querétaro, Zacatecas, every area I've gone, San Luis Potosí, uh, Puerto Vallarta, they know about McAllen and they have stories about McAllen. So and that's what we keep on doing. So I know that even some of those individuals want to come and invest. Like I tell them, when you come and invest, make sure you do it and do it right. That was my story last week. Because when you come, it's different. Investing here and investing over there, and building here and building over there, and developing a business here and developing a business over there. There's a lot of interest in McAllen. Like I tell them, it might be a little more expensive to build in McAllen, but this is where the money is. This is where the people come to spend. So you gotta look and balance out your interests.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are definitely geared towards growth. There's no doubt about that. Well, Mayor, I promised you that I would keep this under 45 minutes. Any closing thoughts with regards to something you want to
No,
mention or
no,
talk about?
other than luck, especially to the younger people, we have a great area. Educate yourself. There's a lot of opportunities. Living here in the valley is a great thing. Stick it out.
All righty. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show. We hope that it's not the last time. I promise you it won't be the last time, but we definitely will be seeing more of each other as we do additional interviews in the Western Valley. And it was great having you tonight. And
My
you're
pleasure.
welcome. You're welcome back at any time. So we will definitely see you soon.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, sir. You have a great evening. By the way, everybody, tomorrow is our NFL Dallas Cowboy jersey giveaway. We plan to give that out during halftime. By the way, Mayor, we've got other shows as part of the broadcast group. We've got a Dallas Cowboy um, show. We've got a MLB show, and we just started a UT Longhorn show. So we have
Excellent.
been advertising this NFL giveaway of a jersey for a couple of months now, and tomorrow is the opening kickoff game between the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Dallas Cowboys, and during halftime we're going to give away a lucky jersey. So I'm reminding everybody the deadline is 3 o'clock tomorrow. So we've got that coming up. We've also got our Apple live coverage event that we're covering Apple and their releases of all the iPhone 17s on Monday. And hopefully in about 3 weeks, we'll be covering another Starship launch directly from Starbase. So stay tuned for that. Don't miss that NFL jersey tomorrow. And we've also got post-game coverage at 10 p.m. tomorrow as well of the game. And we're hoping the Cowboys win. That's our hope, right? So,
That's right.
Mayor, thank you all for tuning in. Mayor, thank you. It was a pleasure,
My
and
pleasure.
we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Sounds good. Bye bye.